In this problem, we are going to work on factoring our greatest common factor. So our problem is negative 16x squared plus 32x. And the first thing we want to do is identify what that greatest common factor is. And of course, you really want to think of that term almost in reverse. Factors are parts of a product, the things that make up the result of a multiplication. We're looking at what they have in common. And out of the things they have in common, we want the most. We want all inclusive factors that go into both terms in this case, since there's two terms. So we'll start by looking at the sign. When the lead term is negative, we want our greatest common factor to be negative. Then we'll look at the coefficients, that is the value of the numbers 16 and 32. And since this is a situation where 16 divides into 32, well then that would be the greatest common factor of those two numbers, the largest number that divides them both evenly. And then we'll take a look at our variable term, and we have x squared and x. And the most we can have in common is what the least one has. That is, we can't have x squared in common because that x only has one x. It doesn't have two. So our greatest common factor will have 1x. So the net result of all of that is our greatest common factor is negative 16x. So if we write the problem again, and what we're going to do, remember, factoring out a greatest common factor is the reverse process of distributing. So in distributing, we bring things in with multiplication. Here we're going to take them back, and we're going to do that with division. So notice I'm dividing each term by our greatest common factor of negative 16x. And on the next line, I'm going to put that negative 16x in front. And then we're going to divide each of these terms to see what will remain inside of our parenthesis. So working on the first term, we have negative divided by negative is positive. 16 divided by 16 is 1. And x squared divided by x. Remember, x squared means x times x. Two x's as factors in repeated multiplication. Divided by x, well then one pair of the x's will divide out, and we're left with just an x. So positive 1x, or just x. Then we'll move on to the second factor, or second term, I'm sorry, not second factor, second term, that'll be left inside. So positive divided by negative is going to make for a negative. 32 divided by 16 makes for 2. And in this case, x divided by x divide out completely, and there's no x's left. So rewriting this in a little neater form, without explicit information, negative 16x, parenthesis, x minus 2. So we've seen how to factor out a greatest common factor from two terms in this case, one, the leading one, with a negative coefficient.